This is one of the things that has been used in our own country to create the poverty and hopelessness that we see in our people. People pay taxes every day. All of us, even the poorest in the country, pays a lot of tax because on everything that you use, everything that you buy, there is a lot of tax on it. That tax is collected by the regime, but it's not used for the benefit of those who pay it. So money is drained, it goes away, it does not come back. People become poorer every day, while a few people that control these resources become richer and indeed have a lot of resources that they can use to further control the country. Lastly, the major form of control of the country is through controlling information and letting only people hear or get the information the few people want them to hear, and restricting the hearing or access to information that the few people do not want them to access. So that control of information then is used to control people's minds and understanding. So I want you to understand that the dictatorship we have has led to the control of all these things: control of decision making, control of institutions, control of resources, control of information. The dictator uses the control of those things to now entrench itself, because, as I have pointed out to you, a dictatorship comes into being through use of force. It continues to use that force to cause fear in the population, fear of sanctions, fear that you are going to be killed, you are going to be imprisoned, your property is going to be taken away, or you are not going to get an opportunity for yourself or your children. People live in fear. That is one of the strongest tools that every dictatorship uses: fear. The use of force to cause fear. Secondly, because the dictatorship controls all the institutions and all the resources, they grant favors to those who comply with what they want. If you are willing to support the dictatorship, they can give you a favor by way of giving you some resources, maybe giving you money, giving you a job in the institutions that they control, or giving you any material benefit that from the resources and institutions that they control. So people are held captive through expectation of favors, through bribes, through renting, hiring their support. Thirdly, because, as I have said, the dictatorship controls information, that information is used by way of propagating the wrong information that government or the regime, the dictatorship, wants you to hear, which is called propaganda. They keep on drumming the same information, and because people are not listening to other sources of information, they start believing the wrong information that the regime is presenting to them. And this information is always aimed at, one, creating an impression that the regime is solving people's problems. Like they have been saying, you are going to get rich, that people are going to get out of their problems very soon. They drum it up and people get into expectation that they are going to get out of their problems. They also create information that puts those who oppose the dictatorship in a bad light. They want to show that those who are opposing the dictatorship are the problem. They are terrorists. They are the ones creating the poverty because they stop people working. They are the ones who are disturbing peace. The dictatorship will want to paint those who are fighting for freedom as the problem, while painting the dictatorship itself as a solution for people's problem. So this is the role of propaganda. And I'm sure all of you have been hearing these repeated things, that we who are opposing the dictatorship are driven by hatred, are driven by vengeance. We want to revenge. We want to cause bloodshed. We want to cause war. So that is the role of propaganda. We need to be very aware. Lastly, among the things I want to point out that a dictatorship uses to control our people is to divide us. Because divided we are weak, we cannot stand up to the dictatorship. And the dictatorship uses many approaches to divide our people by way of dividing the religions, dividing tribes, dividing communities into small administrative groups, and dividing families, cultural groupings, and institutions. Every form of organized people are infiltrated and divided. As I am talking to you, the people of Kasese are still having a lot of problems that have caused many deaths as a result of these divisions. We have seen the same here in Uganda, where we went through very violent riots in 2009 that left many people dead. You are hearing this in Busoga over the Chavazingas and other parts of the country. So this is the problem that we have in our country. Control of our resources, institutions, decision-making, information by the dictatorship. So how do we remove a dictatorship? I want you to understand that when you are captured, if somebody is strangling you, it is unreasonable to just plead with your voice, don't kill me, just release me. Getting out of a dictatorship is achieved through one method. That method is struggle. It means people must stand up and struggle and fight, not plead. Pleading is not enough. It will never work. Struggle is the only way of getting out of a dictatorship. So what we can only talk about are forms of struggle. And there are two main forms of struggle. Either you struggle using violent means or using non-violent means. Now, the struggle that we saw, which brought Mr. Museveni to power, the Bush War that involved many people in our country, is a form of violent struggle. That struggle can lead to a dictator being removed. Indeed, when Museveni came to power, it was through such a struggle. However, we must understand that our struggle now cannot be just to remove a dictator. What we need is beyond removing a dictator, because the Museveni struggle removed a dictator but did not solve the problem. We must replace a dictator with a system where people have power, have control over decision making, over institutions, over resources, over information. So the end of the struggle should not be the removal of the dictator. It should be the installation of people as the ones in charge, not installation of another dictator. Therefore, whereas armed struggle leads to removal of a dictator, it is inappropriate in building a democratic society. That is why we have deliberately considered that our struggle now must focus on use of non-violent means. Non-violent struggle is a very potent struggle, just like the armed struggle. In fact, it has more advantages because there are fewer casualties, you have far less destruction of property, far less loss of people in non-violent struggle. But it is very potent, very powerful in removing a dictator. Unfortunately, our people have now forgotten that we actually won independence from the British, who were, very strong and armed. But we won independence through non-violent struggle, through the boycotts, through the demonstrations and non-cooperation with the colonial regime. So what we consider as the right method of struggle at the moment in our country, Uganda, is non-violent struggle. And as I have pointed out, you must mark the word struggle. Some people confuse non-violence with peaceful. No, non-violent does not mean peaceful, but it means without use of weapons on our side of the struggle. But the regime will infuse a lot of violence in the non-violence.
And address this august body. Thank you.
People's Front for Freedom, PFF, People's Front for Freedom, PFF. We congratulate you for what you have achieved today to launch PFF. The struggle for freedom is a permanent and continuous process. It's unfortunate that today the party is being launched. First, we thank you for inviting us. It's unfortunate today we do not have our colleague in the struggle, our brother, a colleague leader, Dr. Colonel Kizza Besigye. It's unfortunate that we don't even have a government that observes the Constitution. Whatever charges were put against Dr. Kizza Besigye and our other colleague, Haji Obed Rutare, whatever charges were put against them, whatever the processes of trial and anything else, whatever the problems that there are in that process. But there is a constitutional provision that if anybody serves 180 days, he automatically gets bail. They have even contravened that. But the struggle has to continue until all our colleagues, not only Dr. Kizza Besigye and Obed Rutare, but all other colleagues in the struggle who are in prison in various places in this country. There are many young people of NUP who are in prisons all over. Many of opposition parties, some don't even have parties. They are there in prisons. That struggle has to continue. We thank the lawyers who have sustained that effort. The leader of PFF, Honorable Mlodi, Elias Lukwago, we thank you for the effort that you have consistently put up. May the Lord give you strength and resilience to continue with all the teams of leaders, national as well as regional and international, to pursue that until freedom of our colleagues is achieved. We've come here as a delegation. You have seen 5 of us. We are 8. Those of you who may recall what happened last week, I think, last week when we signed the Memorandum of Understanding. There is the central body of this cooperation under the MOU called the Common Ground Council, and it has 8 from PFF, 8 from Alliance for National Transformation. Here, as we've been introduced, we are 5. There are 3 colleagues who are not around. Honorable Cassiano Adri, who is in West Nile, is not being able to come, who is not here. Our apologies on their behalf. There are a number of reasons why we need to work together as people who want to see change in this country. Not only change of regime, but change in the manner in which governance is conducted in this country. Because we've been in a vicious cycle for 60-something years. Regimes change, the direction of governance remains the same. It's a culture which is deeply entrenched. And there must be a team of leaders who need to understand that beyond regime change, which by all means we must put effort behind to do, to achieve, fulfill, that the larger struggle is in how to change our country and put it on track in terms of good governance. One, MOU is mostly around the short term, which is this coming election. Even within that, we as PFF and NT recognize that there are other parties that we can reach out to. And that council will work on that. That we don't have to agree 100%. That if there are 5 issues, even if we agree on 4 or 3, we can work around those that we agree on and have the discipline not to quarrel over the 2 or even 3 that we don't agree upon. Why is that important? Because the country is bleeding. Many of you are young here, even by demographics in the country. Under 35 are 75%. So many of you did not have the misfortune of going through turmoil that we've gone through as a country. It's not only Uganda. When politics goes off track, a lot of wrong things can happen. I can give an example of a country which is unique on this continent. In fact, we have our troops there, Somalia. Somalia are literally the same people. They speak the same language. They are culturally the same. In terms of religion, 99 point something are Muslims. So they don't even have religious differences in Somalia. But they broke down. So their breaking down was not because of strife, religious strife, nor was it ethnic strife. Their strife originates from clans. You can imagine. Clans. But the problem even then is not clans, is poor governance. So when we talk about the need and desire to work together as forces of change, it is to avoid a situation where this country can go down the tubes. Many people don't even recognize that because now we're in a state of uncertainty. Nobody knows exactly which direction this country is heading. Those in the regime can say, oh, we are in charge. We have seen many countries where leaders say they are in charge. The most recent was Sudan. Sudan became independent before we did. In 1957, when the North and South separated, the excuses that were being given that yes, because Sudan is Arab and Muslim, the South is black, Africans and Christians. But they separated. But Sudan, as we speak, is in turmoil. Largely Arab-speaking and Arabs by origin, and also largely Muslim. But they are fighting. People get deceived when you are in a city or in a country and you can drive like we do. People are in Kizza, people go all over the place, except those who are targeted politically. Otherwise, you can drive all over the country. Even in Sudan, that was the case until it imploded. So even when you see seeming stability in a country, to be sure that that stability is permanent and continuous, you need to look below the surface. If there are fissures, you need to pay attention to those fissures. And in this country, you see seeming stability on the surface. Beneath the surface, there are dynamics which could just lead in any direction. That's why the need to work together is therefore critical. Even those other formations that desire to see change in this country, there are things which we need to work on together, even if we didn't reach a point of signing memorandum of understanding. How so? Countries are not held together by mortar, walls, or by fences. Countries are held together by hope in the future, by common purpose. Don't lose sight of that. Because in a situation where countries implode, the ruling party is normally the one which implodes, and it implodes with the state. In that situation, there needs to be people who may not necessarily be part of governance, who are outside, but speak the same language. What holds the people together is the common language of hope. The taking of power is for sure. I can't put my finger onto it, the day, but one thing I'm certain about, taking power, we will, by God's grace, take power in this country. That's not the main issue, though. Because even when you take power, how you use it, how you manage it, is the most critical thing. And therefore, part of why we found the need to work together with colleagues in PFF is to resuscitate hope in our people, in this country, to lift them from the mentality in which they have been plunged by systematic campaign of General Museveni, to break them down, to cause them to be hopeless and frustrated, and to reach a point where they say that nothing can happen here. Things can happen. Because though General Museveni, certainly as a sitting president, he holds power over the army, security services, and other institutions certainly which have broken down, incidentally, but he does not have control, nor is he in charge of the dynamics of change. Dynamics of change always create their own life, and nobody can stop them. People who are observant, people who are able to analyze things deeply, you can see the dynamics of change at work They may be slow, but they are relentless. That's why you see someone like Mugabe, whom everybody thought was in charge, and they were saying, Mugabe, where can Mugabe go? You see what happened? Always. And therefore, we thank God that we are able to regroup. Because therein also lies another lesson to the country. General Museveni over time has consciously, deliberately, and in a systematic way created a state of being in our country to make it seem that when people disagree, that necessarily you become hostile to each other, almost that you become enemies. That's why he has built a barrier in the country for purposes of psychologically influencing the thinking of the people, us versus them. He's good at deception. There's no doubt about that. You have to give it to him. He's thorough at deception. Because he knows that when you have a people who are disempowered, when you have a people who have lost hope, when you have a people who have got frustrated, it is easy to control them and manipulate them. I thank God that we have regrouped. Because it must signal the population that you may have disagreements, but you don't have to be hostile to one another. You don't become enemies. Because our separation in the case was never personal. It was on strategy and methods, that's all. But we're also mature people across the aisle. On our side as NT, on the side of PFF. We are mature and we learn from lessons of the past as we continue to shape the future that we desire to see happen. It's tough, but we have got capability to maneuver, even within challenging times. We will maneuver. We don't understand something. Lastly, where there is a desire for us to work together, those who desire to see change, what change in terms of getting into power and removing those who are there and getting in there is a foregone conclusion, only that we don't know the date. But resuscitating a people who've been so broken down to regain hope, to regain self, a sense of self-worth, self-worth, self-worth. Because that's also another area where General Museveni has worked systematically to break down the people. Their sense of self-worth, the majority of them, is gone. And yet, the strength of a country is never on infrastructure. He keeps talking about roads, he talks about dams, he talks about electricity. Libya had more than we have. Iraq had more than we have. Sudan had more than we have. But where is that infrastructure in all those countries? But back that point, and we really need to work on it every moment that we have. When you find a leadership which breaks down a people, I have said this, I keep saying it over and over until it sinks in people's consciousness. When people will scramble for 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings, give up their right, their fundamental right of choice, and replace it with 1,000, 2,000 shillings. That's a population that is being brought down to its knees. Countries which prosper, see countries which are almost like us, same level of development. They went through challenges. Countries like Vietnam. We see countries which have developed so fast, like South Korea, like Singapore. It's not only just leadership, it's also the people. People who are proud of themselves. Because when people are proud of themselves, when they have that sense of self-worth, several things happen. Innovativeness accrues from that. People cannot do things when they feel as if they are nothing. And that's what General Museveni has done to our people when you look all over the country. He started with the local people. Now he has gone up the ladder. He has gone in the territory of the leaders and also broken them down to a point where a number of them are being bought as if they are goats in markets. Main challenge of our time. For any group that wants to transform this country, transformation cannot come from minerals, it cannot come from wherever, it must come from the people who recover that sense of self-worth. And it can only be done by the leaders. We thank you, PFF, to remain standing, in spite of whatever challenges you've gone through. We have also remained standing. So we have defied, as Honorable Salaso has said, we have defied General Museveni's prophecy of saying that by 2021, there will be no opposition party. He is a false prophet. That's why we are here. And let's see how things unfold. May God bless you all.
Thank you so much, General.
Mr. President, sir, Monsieur le Président, I would like to bring you greetings from the Conservative Party in Uganda, including the people of Lubaga South that I once effectively represented in Parliament. I would like to congratulate you, PPF, for venturing up to this extent. PFF, FFF. We would like to thank you very much for the perseverance and adventure you have shown in the struggle for freedom. Before I give a word also, allow me to introduce to you the entourage that gave me company. I begin with Mr. Wagweku Isaac, the National Chairman, Vice Chairman of the Conservative Party, President in charge of Buganda. Honorable Susan Nampija, a spectacular member of Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I was excited by the hospitality you exhibited when I came here. I would like to say one very important thing before I say anything. Pray for Dr. Besigye, Uganda as a spectacular leader and a fighter for freedom in Africa. I see Dr. Besigye as a unique intellectual in Africa. And if I were to borrow the words of Professor Ali Mazui, who mentored me in Makerere, I would define him as follows. He's a simple-minded person, he's passionate, he's a loving politician, he's an adventurer, but above all, he's a man fascinated by ideas and has acquired the skill to handle those ideas effectively. When Honorable Wafula Ogutu was giving a speech, I did not want him to stop, because when he made a hint that they are now shooting towards federal governance in Uganda, I realized that the work of John Kenry Chams is becoming easier. Ugandans should wake up, because since our independence, when we secured a federal constitution to regionalize the areas of Uganda under a cover of unity in diversity, and Obote came to destroy it in 1966, we have never recovered. The country is on fire. Every government we bring in falls short of the principles that made us to fight for our independence. I therefore urge you very seriously to make sure that we come together, help one another. In fact, I want to tell you that as I was speaking, I realized that your work is going to become very easy, because you are tackling the areas that have long been ignored. Look at this Museveni unitary system of government, breeding with the Musevenomics. Where has it taken us? 146 districts, for what reason? A parliament of 550 MPs, cabinet of 82 ministers. What a shame. We must come together to make sure that after sharing the powers, executive powers, functions and services, we can now ensure that people can develop their respective areas. But we are fed up with this corruption, which is family-oriented. We are led by an oligarchy, led by President Museveni. Before I leave the platform, I want to make a proposal, and a sound proposal. When I was talking to Mr. Honorable Semujo, I told him that things are as they are, but we have a lot of hope in your party. It has the capacity to handle issues which we can follow. And when they work closely with the Conservative Party, where can't we reach? The proposal I am sounding is as follows. Knowing that President Museveni went to the bush to fight bad elections, we cannot let him go on masquerading as a protector of freedom. We should do something, even within the remaining period of time between now and December. Let us give an assignment to ourselves. I mean those PFF people who are in Parliament. In a case of Amama Mbabazi versus the Attorney General, the Supreme Court, which under Article 132 of the Constitution is the highest appeal court in Uganda, they recommended and ordered that the following issues be handled without debate. Remove the army from elections. ensure that the aggrieved candidate at a presidential nature is given more time to go to the court. Instead of 15 days, give him 60 days. Give equitable time to all the presidential candidates. Allow oral evidence to come up along with the affidavits. And lastly, ensure that the declaration of results are done at constituency district level, not mounting them to get fed up, to get swallowed when the internet is blown out. That can be done, and we can insist on doing that. So before I leave the platform, I would like to echo a sound word which Dr. Besigye will hear. Free Dr. Besigye! Free Dr. Besigye! Free Dr. Besigye! Free Dr. Besigye! Uganda is not yours, Museveni. Uganda is for all of us. And the time to tackle you is now. Norwestekyo bagasanda banastange. Exestera kitustuse twegastate wastam. CCP PFF okulastaba ntisti ndio msasaja agestenda.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a party for Joseph Kizza Besigye. He's the president.
Thank you, the Deputy Lord Mayor. Mr. President, the distinguished guests around, all Ugandans, allow me to say congratulations to PFF. Before I begin, allow me to introduce the members around, half of our President, Joseph Kizza Besigye, and he has sent greetings to you all. There is no such a joy as having your own home. You people, you have realized it. That is so great. Where you are comfortable, a home where you are freely expressing your views, a home where you are allowed to grow politically. This is so great. We know very well that apparently we have so many political formations where politicians, members, and leaders are hostages. We have formations where you find somebody putting on a color for that particular party is looked at as an evil. I'm not mentioning NRM. So, it is very important to celebrate and launch this milestone. Thank you. In a special way, allow me to thank the promoters of this idea. It was vital. Really, how could we manage to lose such brains I'm seeing around? Because you're not given that freedom to speak. Because you're not allowed to operate the way you want. So, in a special way, I thank the promoters of the idea, led by our Lord Mayor, the President. As need, we are alive to the fact that the words of change are written all over the walls of Uganda. But there are so many people who have not realized that. And allow me to inform you that there is a lot of fatigue among Ugandans. This time around, PFF, together with other political formations, serious ones like NEED, we should not let Ugandans down. They have a lot of hope in us. They are so fatigued. It's been a long journey. But this time around, we pray we realize our dream. Lastly, we call upon all Ugandans, beginnings with the Wananchi, the leaders, the religious community, cultural leaders, should also embrace and echo similar sound of change. We should all join hands. There are so many formations now, and we hear some people quarreling why such parties are coming up. The question is simple and the answer. Let us divide labor. For those who did economics, division of labor is important. We as need, we are so much into the economy. And the life stream of this government is money. How can we block that life stream? Not to allow them move. So we are handling that part. So any formation can handle a different perspective. So lastly, we wish you good luck as you move along. Exhibit good management, administration, and organization as you carry on. There are ways we can always solve our issues as we move along. Thank you so much. Sorry. So my name is Salongo Matov Moses, the national spokesperson of NEED. Thank you.
Thank you. At this juncture,
we are warmly welcome to this environment in which we want to participate alongside your directives to ensure that we create a Uganda that works for everyone. My last 30 years, I have made a contribution to the national politics of this country, from the Uganda Young Democrats to the Democratic Party, where I served for quite a long time. Dr. Kizza Besigye came for the last funeral rites ceremony of my father and predicted that all institutions of government, including private institutions, are going to be captured. And he said, in Uganda, mujja kubeeraawo nga muwoza DP egumire bajja giwamba era baagiwamba. Mr. Kaija, you were there and he predicted so. For those of you who didn't know that our leaders have got focus on a number of things that we are not clearly seeing, Dr. Besigye is visionary and he predicted so, and it happened. But I also saw what was likely to happen together with my friends and said to ourselves, we are going to go a full circle until we see the thief naked. We went through a process and we went to Mbarara in the National Delegates Conference and we won the battle very well until the junta had to show his way. Comes in with a lot of guns. They participated as if we were delegates. They rob in broad daylight and they declare what they wanted to declare, and there we are, orphaned by our conscience. We regathered and we said, we are not accompanying you to the armpits of President Museveni. You can go with a DP-NRM cocktail party, which we don't belong to. We are of the DP of Ben Chiwanuka, the man who was martyred for fighting for freedom, for fighting for justice, human rights. And then we said, how can we exist alone in this orphanage? And then we found that there are people who have been trusted, tested over time, and they have been fighting in the trenches. They are found at PFF, and that's where we are. We are here because we respect the actors in PFF. These are our brothers, these are our fathers, these are our ideologues, people who believe in fighting for freedom and human rights, people who are willing to mentor others, people who are willing to cement the relationship between us and other parties, people who are willing to take on the junta, people who are willing to fight until Uganda is free. That is us. And that is why we come to you. And that is why we think we can act together with freedom. You have welcomed us very warmly. And we are happy to work under you, alongside you. Whatever you command us to do, we shall do until Uganda is free. I want to thank you so much for inviting General Mugisha Muntu.
Hello.
General Mugisha Muntu being in our midst, that is a very big plus. Please give him a thunderous applause. I have been reunited here with Alaso, with Osege. I've been reunited with Kajinda, with Jared Karuhanga.
Hello.
Oh, this reunion is great. Let us unite and form a formidable force from now on. Let us be discussing from time to time. Let us work with others. I can assure you the junta is going to crumble. Thank you for welcoming me. Right Honorable Wafula Ogutu. Yesterday you welcomed me very warmly together with Ambassador Birigwa and my brother Sarongo Elias Lukwago, Honorable Semujunganda, Mr. Kaija and others. Thank you for welcoming us. You know, Right Honorable Wafula Ogutu is a humble man. He doesn't want even to be called Right Honorable. But he gave me a job as Shadow Minister for Health. Today I'm a backbencher. I have no responsibility in Parliament, but at least I can be invited at the podium of PFF to speak to people. God bless you all. We are all braced up, ready to fight, and we are willing to be deployed anywhere where we can fight from. I have come with my colleagues here. Honorable, coming from all over this country. This is our new environment. Welcoming people, decent people, people who are willing to work with us. Let us work quickly and we get rid of the junta. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Hello. Hello, Uganda. Wake up, Uganda. That one has a copyright. It was by the Lord Mayor. So you don't just say it. So ladies and gentlemen, right about now, allow me to introduce only Kunihira Proskovia. Council Sharif, our very own, kindly also wave to the people. Allow me to also recognize the presence of my good friend, comrade, brother, the Honorable Ouma Dennis.
Congratulations and congratulations. We are saying this from the bottom of our hearts because we know what it means to get a political party genuinely registered in Uganda. I am here with a team of leaders from the ANT, and I am going to just mention their names they have already danced, and I want them to sit down, to go back and resume their seats. The Honorable Sege Angeline, wave as you go back. Thank you. The Honorable Gerald Karuhanga, our spokes, will wave as he goes back. The Honorable Dan Wandero Gallo, our elder, wave as you go back. And I will introduce the last person later. Let him first go back and sit. And my sister, my young sister Dorina, has ably taken it away on the basis of Kadodi. Therefore, it simply means I am not going to have a speech. It means I'm going to say 2 or 3 things off cuff because the speech is normal, and then we will do what I think is important. 1, as I said, we congratulate you. 2, I want to say that how mistaken somebody was Years back, President Museveni said, by 2025, there will be no political opposition in Uganda. And how he was mistaken. He invested a lot of energy and time to scatter the opposition. But we thank God who knows everything. We morphed like this, and morphed like this, and met somewhere, and here is testimony to the fact that the opposition in Uganda is alive, it is well, and it is well intentioned, and it is going forward. Secondly, 2 or 3 days back, we sat and we said we will work together in a cooperation. Let me tell you, our coming here is not just to witness this. We've come here to bring our hearts as the Alliance for National Transformation. So we are presenting our hearts in the coming on to board of the PFF so that we have a solid and a viable entity to rescue this country. Thirdly, I want to tell someone, I believe they are listening, that the day ANT left and the day PFF left, the spirit of the party we spent time building left. They can have the headquarters if they want, but the spirit of the FDC left, and we have it with us. That is why we should do everything within our power to sustain that spirit and deliver this country from the tragedy that it is confronted with. I am going to sit shortly. And the message from the Alliance for National Transformation is going to be delivered by our former presidential candidate, General Mugisha Muntu.
Freedom Party. I think we have sat for long, and I want us to shake our bodies a bit. Yes, so before I call our last speaker, allow me to invite Farida Muamvu. Is she a
leaders of the sister parties that have spoken? I salute you all in your respective capacities. All protocol observed. Fellow citizens, delegates and patriots, I wish to first of all add my voice in congratulating the PFF upon this milestone. And further congratulate you for the MOU with the Alliance for National Transformation. I wish to add my voice as a human rights defender on the disturbing situation surrounding Dr. Kizza Besigye, Haj Obed, and all other political prisoners who have been held beyond mandatory days of remand. Dr. Besigye and Haj Obed, from 16th November when they were abducted, today, July 8th, they make 234 days in custody, unconstitutional custody. It's very unfortunate that as we celebrate 30 years of the 1995 Constitution, and I was happy to see very many people that made this Constitution, General Muntu, Senior Counsel, Wandero Garu, there was another CA, former CA delegate from Orango, and so many people here. I think the 1995 Constitution, as much as it was the most celebrated constitution in Uganda's history, it's also the most vulgarized constitution. Today, history watches you, PFF. Today, Uganda listens to you. And today, you rise not as individuals chasing privilege, but as torchbearers of the new dawn. We are gathered here to witness a wonderful journey of building a new political home after intentional and deliberate political turbulence at your former home. Today's gathering has the most experienced, most tested political leaders in Uganda that you can find in any one gathering. And the citizens out there are hopeful that your experience, your wisdom that has been tested at several fronts can deliver something new for this country. I know that the leadership gathered here at PFF and your allies, the ANT, you are not here to bow to systems that oppress people, but to boldly reshape them with courage, vision, voice, and hope for the people. For too long, our politics has been stained by violence, by greed, by fear, and by the greater silence of the population. I hope this won't happen anymore. This front, your front, the PFF, the PFF was born out of pain of the continuous political manipulation, disruption by the powers that be, the cry of the resilience of political activists like yourselves, the resolve of the young activists, the mothers, and the collective dream for a free Uganda. Hence the name, the People's Front for Freedom. I believe that the team at the helm of PFF is here because they refuse to believe that democracy is a privilege. They know that dignity, justice, and opportunity must not be reserved for a few, like is our case in the country, and that Uganda people deserve leaders who serve, not rulers that rule. I know that the PFF is not just a party, it's a movement, a mission and a moment. A movement built not on ethnicity, and thank you, Honorable Salam, for demonstrating the Ugandanness of the PFF. Not built on religion, and I have seen all denominations here, but on the people's needs for true democracy. A mission to restore freedom of thought, speech, choice, association, and I believe that together with the like-minded Ugandans in other formations, that this moment will declare and usher in a Uganda that we can bestow to our children and their children, not a destiny for a family and a few in high places. To our youth, you are not too young to lead. To our women, you are not too weak to stand, and you have stood, especially the women in PFF and the ANT. To our elders, your wisdom will guide this country forward. We in civil society know that the road is very rough. It's getting rougher for us. But we remember that a people united in truth can never be defeated. Let your response be discipline. Let your weapon be ideas. Let your victory be democracy. Our country is at a critical stage of an election where majority voters, the 10.7 million that Honorable Semju talked about, the young people, have no or limited voter education. I have not seen myself any voter education going on in this country. I was introduced as a chairperson of the Global Network for Domestic Election Observers, group-wide, but I've been denied accreditation to do voter education. And I will not apply for observation to embarrass myself, because voter education is less critical. Critical national civil society organizations have been blocked by the people with powers to accredit. I'm sure you are also aware that critical media organizations are facing a blockade on national functions where the president is appearing, mainly NBS, Daily Monitor, and NTV. A blockade on programs involving taxpayers' money. So what will happen during campaigns if you don't fight that? If we don't fight that, because we are fighting the blockade, we want the political parties who are main actors in elections to fight the blockade, to fight illegalities, a blockade against civil society with no explanation. Our organization has not had any explanation from Electoral Commission as to why there is a blockade on our organization. I'm sure the media have no explanation on why there is a blockade on programs that involve taxpayers' money, that involve their money. We request that you demand for answers as PFF. We request that you demand that we shall not have sins of the military in this election. We trust your leadership. The committee that you've put together, Honorable Afra Ogutu Jenomuntu, let your committees demand that Ugandans receive an election as envisaged in the Constitution. The military has no role in our elections. We must collectively demand that the UPDF must stay at our borders, not at polling stations. We hope that the massive experience and expertise in PFF and the ANT, plus other likely-minded actors, can set up a strong think tank and a strong strategic leadership team that will meaningfully push back against the excesses of the regime and demand that the power of the people must be restored as envisaged in Article 1 of the Constitution. This is not only extremely urgent, but it's very critical. And as CSO actors, we are open to share experiences and expertise, and we shall work with whoever knocks on our doors. We shall stand with you in the quest for rule of law, freedom, and justice. For the people, with the people, and by the people, Uganda shall be free. The struggle continues.
Received a standing ovation. Thank you so much. This is quite urgent.
Thank you so much. Mujja kunsonyiwa nja kwogerako mu Luganda ne mu Luzungu kubanga tulina abangi abatatugeera lulimi luli. First of all, you forgive me because I'm not going to be disciplined in the sense that I'll speak articulately the way these guys have been speaking. I'm going to remember my mother. Bless her soul. My mother, as poor as we were, she tried to have a plate. She used to call it a soani, where there was a little of this, a little of this, and a little of this. In the end, later on I learned, we received our vitamins and carbohydrates and God knows what. We were able to grow up. I am here. I'm going to give you this and that and that. And hopefully, at the end of my little speech, you will understand where I'm coming from. First of all, njagala okubagamba nti nze ndi mukyondwa. Abakyondwa bayunga. Bone healers, we are the one who heals. We are the one when there's wounds, broken legs, we heal you. Tuvanandwa agudde busujju. That's where we come from. Abakyondwa ab'engabi, sengabi eyansamba naye engabi eyamutaawe Ssekyonde Nandwa agudde. I have a daughter who is adjunct professor at Columbia University, and I asked her, what do you teach? She says she's a bone healer. I said, but you don't touch people broken. She said, no, there's too many people with broken what? Minds. They're broken heads. So she's a psychiatrist type of person. And in Uganda, we have so many people who have broken minds. And this is what PFF has come to do. We've been broken. They tried to break us. But here we are. Are we going to rebuild again as a nation? Many years ago, 30 years ago, I was taken to meet Mwami Museveni. When I went there, I was introducing a small phone. If you remember Celtel, who remembers Celtel? So I went to Museveni and I said, Mr. President, this is going to allow you to move about without even going away from your seat. Tojja kuvaawo n'ojja kusobola okuba amasimu gonna. N'ambuuza, wires ziyita wa? You know, you don't have wires. Where are the wires? Konze wires ziri mu bbanga. It's amazing that 30 years later on I'm here. And this is where the wires are. Muntegedde. Mwe wire. Ate muli live. Muli wire nga muli live. PFF is alive. Vibe eri wano. Vibe eri dawa. njagala tuve wano olunaku lwaleero nga mmanyi nti mwe mugenda okutwala ensi yaffe mu maaso. I want you, when you depart from here, to know that you are the people who are going to lead Uganda forward. Not anywhere else. You are here, and those who are listening to us, where you came from. We are going to take power. Dr. Taliwo, naye waali. Dr. Taliwo naiki ate mwamuwadde kati ye general. Nze muwadde wa field marshal. Nakyo kiggwe. It hurts okusibya omuntu obwereere nga talina kyakoze. Naye amateeka ne gabeerawo ne bagaana okumugira ki okumuta. Weebuuza n'okwebuuza, what do these people really want? How can you lock up somebody for so many days? The law says this and you do what so wish. Kakati otunabakwata mwena netubasiba namwe munaaba mutya. Think about it. Your day can also come. Would you wish to be treated that way? Anyway, mukama wali. Wali. As I'm here today, I don't know how many people remember me, but I was at Najjanankumbi when I climbed the wall. I climbed the wall because I had no any other option. They had locked me up for 5 hours. I said I want to go. They said you can't go. But Ifesi, Makumiana, they were all there. And there was one young man. Where's George? George is with us here. But George is the one who kind of said, abasajja nsobola okubajjawo. Ne mubuuza how. Nangamba tubagambe nti mujje mbasasule. Bonna mudde wonna wonna tubasasule. So he told them, come, we are going to pay you. And you know how they were, most of it, they were munjaga wala jibiki. Bonna ne badduka ogende wa George. Simanyi baamukolanga. When he didn't have the money, I don't know what they did to him. But nevertheless, that gave me time to figure out how to get out. And those who saw me, and I would like also to thank someone who also acted very, very quickly, was Mr. Nkonge. Nkonge wali wano. Nkonge, those who know Najjanankumbi, when you are up, you can see below. When you're walking on the fence. Bwemutambulira ku ki fence osobola okulaba emmanga. Kati bwe yandaba nga maze okunoonya engeri gye ngenda okubuuka nga bimbuza olwo nno. Nandaba ne mugamba noonya eddaala. Find a ladder. I don't know how God prepares things, but this young man, within a short period of time, they found a ladder. And they gave it to me down there, but it was a short ladder. So with my short legs and a short ladder, I tried to figure out how I was going to be able to. In the process, you saw me trying hard to go over. And unfortunately, my pants were also... So, I managed somehow to go over it. The fence, I remember, and again, mukama wa amaanyi. There was a guy with a pickup who was buying some stuff. And I just went into his car. And the man said, hey, Vinigwa, what's the problem? Namuga nzijawo. Nanzijawo nantwala. Nandeka ku petrol station gye nakubira abantu bange okunzijawo. Naye navaayo nabagamba mbalekedde embugo. Lubaale nki? Translated, that the clothes of the goats, I left them there, but I went with the goats. Now, I don't know why God chose me to do certain things. N'okuzza lubaale naye gwali mutawaana. You remember, to bring back the goats was a problem. And I want to thank Salam Musumba Madam. The night before the delegate conference, those who were here, we were at my place in Busabara. That's where we were supposed to have held the delegate conference. But when we were there, planning with Kaziruka was there. And who else was there? Some other person. We were planning about 30 soldiers, FSC, what they came. And they were led by a lady who was the DPC or deputy DPC of that area, Musabara. And they came to me. They said, you can't hold a meeting here. This is about 2 o'clock in the morning. But I said, but what kind of meeting? No, he said, you won't have a meeting here. So I got upset. And I told this lady, I said, I'm sorry, but whether you like it or not, the meeting is going to take place. And it doesn't have to be necessarily here. And by the way, I showed the lady my phone. I said, do you know that I can be on this phone and we can have a delegate conference with our people? Unknowing to you and to them, I had already talked to one of the television stations and had booked, I think there were about 20 nodes in different places of this country where our delegates could go in the room and we'd be able to reach them. Nevertheless, we didn't go to that. So there we were, and I don't know what happened to them. They started moving slowly, and some went to the gate. And myself and Salam, we decided we had to do something. So I told them, let's get out of here. And everybody said, how? I said, we are going to go through the main gate. I said, but you can't. These people are waiting for you. I said, we are going to go through the main gate. Salam, I left her there. And we moved. When we got to the gate, there were two of these big mambas at the gate. My son was driving me. And I don't know, once again, a soldier came with a gun. Instead of stopping me, he went to the mamba and removed it. And I was able to go. After that, I hid. Until she called me, she said, where are you, where are you? Meanwhile, people were already gathered here. So I said, he said, get on the border. Now, munansonyi wanaenda katula ku border oba minutes zaali 3 zokka. Bwe natuula, kabananga nina story nene. Kaweesi mujjukira. Bwe yatulumba nga abiri mu 2016, ne general, twali mu meeting, ne bajja ne batukwata, nga bageze okutukwata. I escaped. But nevertheless, after that, I got on the border, and believe me, I had not sat on the border all my life. You wouldn't believe this. So when I sat on the border, I took hold of the driver, the guy like this. The guy say, hey! I said, listen, I don't know how. But nevertheless, Salam was where she was. I said, get on the border. I said, I can't get on the border. So I got a car, and she told me, this road here, around there, there will be someone waiting for you. And that's what I did. But when I arrived there, I found another wall. You see that wall over there? Here is short, but there it is. Then again I said another wall. But then the young guys helped me to jump to get here. Those who were here remember. And then I said God is good and God is great. Now, having said a few of those things, I want to let you know that was this Saturday? The 4th of July, I think it is. Friday. Now, for those who know, 4th of July is Independence Day in the United States. And on this 4th of July here, we held a Zoom meeting with all our delegates, most of them, and I told them, I have done what you asked me to do. And today we are going to dissolve FDC as far as we are concerned. I am sorry, but we dissolved FDC on July what? 4th. And then we let our lawyers carry on as far as trying to recover our assets. You understand? Kati mumbusa bya FDC bya wedde. Kakati ndiki PFF. I am PFF. And thank you very much. But I'm 3002. Yeah. Hallelujah. Sebo, I respect you. Now. So, as the deputy to our leader, if George, there's George, I was calling George. This is the young man called George. Yaleta mageza agamanyi uyo. Yeah, please. What you did was wonderful. Mukama akwongere emikisa. So as a deputy, I truly wish Doctor was here in person. Nayogera olwaleero. It would have been wonderful. I miss him so. But we are here and we have done, I think, almost everything that he has asked us to do. We had a good meeting about 2 weeks ago with him. For some reason, they allowed us to talk to him. And we were able to discuss all the issues and what's going to take place today. And we have tried very hard to make sure that we fulfill all that he told us to do. He was very emphatic about dissolving FDC and deciding on how we are going to work with how we're going to get back our assets. That is done. Now my job, as your leader, in the absence of Doctor, as a deputy, and you have already heard about Council for Eminent Persons, I wish those who are in the Council of Eminent Persons could come and stand by me or with me. Please come. Come, please. You may not have seen them, but these are the guys. In total will be 25. And those who are here are those who have agreed to be part of us. Others like Shapa Karanga is somewhere in exile, but he is with us. He has agreed to be part of it. Garuga, also, you have already heard from Uncle Waf and others. I would like to give them just a minute for them to introduce themselves in case you don't know them. And I don't want to mess up the pronunciations of their names. We start.